right. Well, hello everyone. Um, Getting back to continuing this. So just a couple of things sort of to close out everything, the whole discussion about the introductory scene of this game. Um, Especially as I had also had the opportunity to talk to my partner to sort of finalize some of my thoughts on it. Um, First of all is that, yeah, when I say that nothing that happens here is like unreasonable or unbelievable, what I mean by that is that, certainly in colonized areas, counter raids like this are, something that happen. Um, that's like, that is a result of the process of being, violently colonized and settled. But when this is the first scene and the first thing the player's introduced as, this is all happening out of context and from the perspective of like the colonial settler like actor, right? So that is their perspective essentially
Hey
that
there.
is how Obsidian
Sure.
is introducing the game. That sort of inevitably, you have to take in consideration in terms of, why did they choose to make this the first scene? Um, and all of that. But I promise not all of this is about colonialism, but uh, I think I think it's also fair to say that they went out of their way to make colonialism like something that they looked at and wrote about and explored in these games.
We have to be careful in here. Place has been open to the wilds for a couple thousand years. Might be a lot of vermin taking shelter here. Four-legged if we're lucky. Two if not.
Okay, just gonna wrap that up real quick. Because like one of the backgrounds that you can choose is something along the lines of like a colonizer or a settler or something like that, and they deliberately use the term colonies and like in some ways go out of their ways to um, like show the settler colonial dynamics in ways that are, very obvious and recognizable, which is not something that's super common in a ton of fantasy games. I mean, this is more of like a flintlock fantasy, I think is the term. So more like Age of Discovery, Age of Science, like those are things that are being played with a little here. Um, so in that sense, it might be a little bit more common in a specific subgenre, but it's also, this isn't something that was an accident. Anyway, back to what's actually happening. What happened out there? Kalisha shakes her head. Windstorm, of the kind they only get in Ergalanfath. Not too many people live through them, so it's hard to know what's true. The Glanfathan word is Biawak. To them, it's the gods' way of reaping the souls of the land that couldn't find their own way out. But they'll take a living soul as soon as a dead one. Still got yours?
We look for another way out. Storm has to die sometime.
Who attacked us? Glanfathans. Those would be the hut dwellers Odema warned you about. Look to be fangs of Gallowayne who are the twitchiest of the lot. They go ruin to ruin looking for fights with colonists. Poor Odema. I think he half expected this once we lost the main road. Yeah, I guess like another thing here is like, especially with this sort of depiction, oh hey, this specific like group is probably like this like extremist, I guess, like subgroup of the Glanfathans. Um, Again, like I don't remember, but like I wonder if like this and like this specific subgroup again is sort of like, is this how you get like your bandit characters like introduced, like your quote unquote bandit characters? I don't remember how common they are in this game at all, but if that is the case, that'll definitely be interesting. Um, anyway, the Glonfathan says we trespassed in the ruins. I don't believe that. Odema would never allow it. But as much as the Fangs are hotheads, Glenfathans don't attack without being provoked. Either they saw something and got the wrong idea, or she glances down the passage beyond. Or there's looters in here with us. That's not something we need right now. And this is also, again, interesting because I think this is the first hint we like see, like, or first like the first like direct text that like isn't depicting them as unreasonable or acknowledges that there was a reason. And also you have Kalisha, who is a local Deerwood, is a local to the Deerwood who grew up here. at least has this perspective. Um, anyway, what about everyone else in our caravan? Felicia's lips press together and her chin rumples. Her voice is faint. The wheels got hold of them now. She looks up. Gods grant them better luck in their next lives. You don't seem too upset about all this. Felicia looks you in the eye, volatile current running beneath her voice. Maybe you just don't know me well enough to know what upset looks like. And maybe I've seen worse, too. Seen worse and kept on walking because there's nothing else to be done and because other people you care about who still need you. Let's get going. All right. A trembling, sickly creature emerges from the dark, clutching a spear. Knobby elbows and thin ribs show through its scaly flesh, but you recognize it as a Zareth. It watches you cautiously, breathing in ragged sighs. Raise your arms and stand still. The creature cocks its head and approaches you, a soft clicking sound emanating from the back of its throat. The creature sniffs around you and finds nothing of interest. It steps back and resumes its defensive posture. It's okay, I won't hurt you. The Zareth recoils, fingers still wrapped tightly around its spear. And then it approaches you again. So you get the option to back away. Thing to note here is that here it's depicted as you can at least somewhat speak with this being, um, and I don't know if specifically they're depicted as understanding language. They at least understand body language, but I'm 90% sure that Zarabs mostly show up in this game as just trash mob enemies that you kill whenever you see them. I don't remember if there are any speaking Zarabs at all throughout the entirety of the rest of the game.
Someone else has been here. We should move.
So that's another thing to think of. Are we seeing the animal quote unquote lizard people as the subhuman trash monsters? Is that's happening here?
Easy does it.
Those tiles look suspicious. Let's be careful.
I know that these are all trapped, but I don't know if it's going to show up cleanly or not. I guess not. Anyway.
Those symbols. Just like the tiles.
Oh, oozes. Fun. Can you even knock these prone? No, they're immune to prone. Okay.
Hey there.
Let's try this beam thing and hope it doesn't kill Kalisha this time. Okay, that seemed to work at least. All right. Lovely. Oh, looks like that's a Glandhoffen hunter, probably. By the look of it.
Stay quiet.
Or at
Where'd that
least
slime come from?
someone else was certainly here. Where'd the slime come from? Through that place, I'd guess. A vicious slick of something dark and tar-like runs down this wall. The shapes and bulges in the ooze suggest that something lies beneath it, but you can't tell what. Use your water skin to clear off the ooze. You rinse the ooze away, revealing an intricate relief of a man's face. The sunburst surrounding it has chipped away in some places, but the details of its head, from the tight curls of the hair to the ridges of his pointed ears, still showcase remarkable craftsmanship. One eye socket is empty. A gem fills the other. All right. That reminds me. Okay. Forgot that this has actually a pretty intricate crafting system, if I remember correctly. Let's see what's up this way. Oh. Oh, interesting. Okay. Huh. Again, it's been long enough that I really don't remember all the details, including this one. I'm not sure if that's a puzzle, but... Oh, I guess it must have been, given that some of the rings were deactivated, but... Oh? I guess that's... Oh. So let's go see what this does. Place the gem in the eye socket. The chamber begins to rumble, stray rocks dancing across the tile floor. Finally, a large section of the wall gives way. Oh.
What you need?
All right. Oh. Well, I'll take that. And this is going right on our character. All right.
Wait. Do you hear that?
Hmm.
Hmm?
Well, I'm not sure. Technically, Decletia's health doesn't actually matter because,
Mm-hmm.
spoilers, she's going to die very soon, but, I don't know, can we even camp? I guess we have 2 camping supplies, it's not that big of a deal. Damage reduction. Alright.
Sure.
Might as well just make sure nothing dramatic happens.
Could be a shortcut.
A crack runs along this wall from floor to ceiling. A light gust of air passes through it. Push on the wall. Despite the damage, the stone looks heavy and solid. Send Kalisha. There we go. Kalisha pushes with all her might, and the crack begins to spread. Finally, the ancient masonry gives way. The wall crashes down, revealing a circular room ahead.
Hmm?
Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not super smooth, but it worked.
Fresh air in here. I think we found an exit. Sounds like the storm path, too.
Oh, spiders.
What you need?
Sure.
And I think that just, yep. Although, this doesn't look like you can light these torches.
Yeah?
Okay, let's... Alright.
Yeah? They'll never know I'm here.
Bats as large as chickens. Alright. That's certainly an image. Let's see, what's this way? Oh, just a dead guy. Four figures stand before an otherworldly apparatus, an ancient structure of chiseled adra and metallic veins, ominous and looming like a silent observer. Standing motionless in their midst is what appears to be a human body, colorless as stone or ash. The other figures gaze upon it with what might be contemplation. From your vantage point, you are well obscured from their view. The figure closest to the machine stands out among them. A thick, gray beard frames a face otherwise hidden beneath a metallic mask. His faded robes are embroidered with a runic language unlike anything you have ever seen, and he wears a strange black headdress with two protrusions that jut out like the wings of some malevolent creature.
Oathbinder, bear witness, and see this man has kept his word true to his last breath, full to his blood's last drop. Guide his soul, queen that was, and regard it among your favored. Let his life by the key be his confession. Let his death by the key be his absolution. May he walk the world ever free of the crushing weight of the book.
Sounds like some cult shit.
Your brother has done his part, and you have seen the power of his contribution. I will accept no further hesitation from the rest of you. In the sight of the queen that was, will you fulfill the oath? Will you take your place beside your brother in the endless esteem of her memory that is without flaw? Step forth, and be assured of the great worth of your life's course.
For an instant, the apparatus goes quiet and the air is still. Then, all at once, it erupts with a concussive surge. Light floods your vision, and you are knocked to the ground. Your head snaps back as you land, and pain wells into the back of your skull, washing your last thoughts away into the black, unconscious void. One thing, it kind of looked like they used, like, the BioWick, like, whatever you call it, like, animation, like, screen effect. Although, like, I don't actually remember. Anyway. You open your eyes to a different place, another time. You stand in a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with audra and trimmed with copper. The style is ancient, but the chamber is unweathered. At the far end of a great pillar of audra pierces the floor from below, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Encircling the pillar is an apparatus much like the one you have just seen, but immense and multifaceted and intertwined. Your thoughts are yours and not yours, and they seem to exist before you think them, and they are all questions. Pressing questions, troubling questions, questions that must be answered or... At the base of the pillar now, you see a man with a thick gray beard and ceremonial robes, crowned with a strange ornamental headdress. You know this man. You are walking towards him now, at a pace that is hurried while trying not to appear so. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all, and the question spins madly in your mind. One thing that's interesting is, like, the guy looks pretty much exactly the same as when you just see him, but, like, the writing for the description is, like, so much less ominous than when you meet him in, like, let's just call it the current time in the game. Again, like, the technical writing and phrasing of this game, of course, is, like, quite good. You awaken to find your malaise has been broken, only to be replaced with something far more concerning. Faint whispers are audible at the edge of your hearing, like a ringing in your ears that does not subside. Movement flits through your periphery, but when you turn to look, you can see no sign of whatever it was. You find your gaze regularly darting this way and that, an involuntary, paranoid tic. If this is a sickness, it may be dangerous to go without treatment for long. The figures at the machine stand frozen in place, flesh and blood replaced by cinders and ash. The man who led them is nowhere to be seen. You find Kalisha lying prostrate, a short distance away, blood pooled beneath her head. No breath escapes her lips. You are alone and far from health. Gilded Vale may be your best hope of receiving treatment before things get worse. Ah, and there's the background whispering. I want to see if what the quest dialogue says about this. After surviving an explosion outside the ruins of Silant Lys, I'm not actually sure how that's pronounced. I experienced a vision. Since then, I have been hearing sounds with no source and seeing things that aren't there. This is not the illness that struck me at the wagon. This is something new, an affliction of the mind, perhaps. With luck, someone in Gilded Vale will know what to do. Okay. I think, yeah, inventory is full, so...
Hey there.
Yeah. This is one of the moments when I'm really regretting that, like, I don't know that much about, like, madness scholarship and, like, literary analysis. 'Cause I feel like that would add a lot here. I feel like maybe I should wait a bit to, like, say more, but there's definitely stuff going on here about, like, the fascination with an exploration of, like, a concept of what it means to be mad versus, like, while simultaneously being repelled from it and like feeling that it's inhuman or subhuman. There's definitely stuff going on there. I'll say that much. Um, just go with that. Conical area behind the target. With that, given that our little beam power seems to possibly affect allies as well. Jeez. Okay. If I remember correctly, most of like the multi-class talents are not that great, so I'll just ignore those. Um, I remember that being a useful feature because if I remember correctly, endurance is like the temporary. Yeah, health is like long-term damage. So that one can be helpful if I remember correctly. Um, but I think we're gonna go with. This should let us use powers faster, I think is how that works. So let's go with that one. Okay. Oh yeah, we get fun hallucinations here. So, and all of them are violent, if I remember correctly. So, uh, enjoy or not enjoy as is relevant to you. vessel flesh. Lovely. Oh, someone's burning at the fire now. But yeah, Lucretia is a cipher, which means she's used to, psychic phenomena bullshit. But I'm gonna assume hearing whispers she can't place and seeing visions of, people being, tortured and brutally murdered is not something she's used to. Not fun stuff. I think we're just gonna go quickly through this map before we get a companion, because oh, or maybe not. Well, if I'm getting another camping supplies, well. Oh, is that a ghost? Oh, it's gone now. I'm gonna assume it was a ghost. Oh. Just a random dead body. Oh. Well, we have an outlaw bandit character that is at least not dressed like the other Glenfathans, so there is some diversity in your bandit characters at least.
I'll take a peek.
Oh. Oops. Probably should not have done that. Oops. Okay.
Show him how it's done!
Let's see if I can survive this.
I'll teach you.
Okay, so that does.
Left.
Whoops. One.
I'll teach you a lesson.
Okay. Survived,
How about we take a
and
break?
I should save. Alright. And I think Okay, I think this will get us to Gilded Vale. Got the lovely whispering in the background, and lovely ominous. Oh, yeah, love a good entry with, dozens of bodies hanging from the tree at the middle of the town.
You must be one of the new settlers. Welcome to Gilded Vale. You'll be pleased to know that we've had some recent vacancies here.
He glances at the gnarled, leafless monstrosity of a tree next to him, and just to go back, because it gives voiceover even when there's sort of text in between the lines, which is a little annoying for the purposes of this. But a man approaches you. His skin is dull and gray as the desolate village behind him. He scans you with sunken, lifeless eyes. His voice is a dry croak. Again, sort of the text here is like excellently evocative, shall we say. I feel at home already.
Of course, we'll need to make some inquiries first. The inestimable Lord Radric VII has taken great pains to insulate our town from Widewind's legacy. Have you ever conceived a Hollowborn child?
Yeah, lovely. I have to wonder what this looks like if you're playing like a male character. Um, but yeah, this is where we start to get into a bit about the themes of like, shall we say, complicated themes about like birth and childbearing, or at least this first section has some stuff about it, to say the least. No.
Are you absolutely certain? Lord Raderick has made it his first priority to eliminate this scourge from our village. I should warn you, stranger. Here in Gilded Vale, we have a special place for dissidents, charlatans, and those who would hide a curse in our midst.
He steps to the side and inclines his head ever so slightly towards the deformed tree.
His lordship's wife is with child and due any day now. Without his approval, I shan't be able to find you a permanent settlement. It will have to wait until after the birth. We can continue our interview then, after the bell tolls from Radric's hold to signal my lord's new heir. In the meantime, you can find temporary accommodations at the inn just southwest of here.
You said something about Hollowborn and Widewind's legacy before. He blinks. I forget that you foreigners do not have this curse in your homelands. The Hollowborn have been a scourge upon the Deerwood for almost 15 years now. He lowers his voice to a whisper. Children born without souls. He shakes his head. Pitiful, dumb things that breathe, barely, but do not truly live. Some say the Hollowborn are a disease. Some say they are a punishment from the gods. He raises his empty hands. In truth, no one knows. But they began spreading after the Saints' War, and so the name Widewind's legacy stuck in honor of that foul, blasphemous pretender. His voice shakes with vitriol. I see. Lord Radric's decrees may seem strict at times, but he has our best interest at heart, he nods. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. It's important that everyone in Gilded Vale understand our rules. I've been feeling strange ever since a close call with the Biowak. Is there someone in town who could help?
Whatever your problem, it sounds like a matter for an animancer. However, the only animancer in Gilded Vale isn't in any condition to speak. Consider yourself fortunate. After she failed Lord Radric, we saw to it that she wouldn't profit from the misplaced trust of others. A bad cure is often worse than none at all.
Yeah.
But if you're set on finding a bottle of troll piss or a dead Audra pebble to rub on your forehead, you're welcome to check her pockets. A little corpse stink is nothing when you're digging for shit. My advice, however, is to be satisfied that you escaped and leave it at that.
I don't think we're going to ask this guy anything more. Goodbye.
Keep out of...
Listen!
2 tolls. Let that be the last.
3. Gods have mercy.
It seems your arrival is ill-timed. 3 bells toll only for the death of a Radric. I fear Lord Radric's heir is lost, or else Hollowborn, and so lost all the same. You should tread carefully. Circumstances have changed a great deal.
What do you mean? You come to us at a time of mourning. The legacy has struck at the heart of Gilded Vale. Our efforts to redeem ourselves in the eyes of Barath must be redoubled. He sets a steady gaze on you. What happened? He shrugs one bony shoulder. I will know more details when the messengers arrive. Vagaries of childbirth, perhaps, but that is not your concern. Does this affect the Lord's offer to new settlers? I can be sure of nothing right now. I advise you get some rest, the inn or stable for all I care. Find me afterwards. I will know more soon enough. Farewell. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. And also like the implications of like asking like all women who enter, like if they have the curse. Like presumably either they're not allowed to settle if they, or not even have the curse if they've given birth to a child with the curse. Presumably they're either not allowed to settle or maybe they get strung up on the tree like everyone here. It's not just female figures strung up here, so... and they did say, you know, dissidents and other people also have been, shall we say, executed recently, but... I do think there's something interesting in, you know, you had this like lovely offer of, you know, free land to, you know, people from, you know, foreign territory coming to settle here. And then this is immediately what you're confronted with. Like, I feel like there's something to unpack there with the choice of that, but I'm not quite sure what I'm thinking about that yet, so... Alright. Just gonna grab that mushroom. That said, there's definitely something going on in terms of like, at least I think it's safe to say that it's implied that women who give birth to Hollowborn have been strung up and quote unquote have been given that. Certainly they're seen as responsible. And then like the midwife that, or the animancer is what her literal job description was, but in this case, like, she was acting almost as a midwife because it sounds like the idea was that she would prevent there being a Hollowborn or something like that, or that, at least that's what they wanted her to do. Women and midwives, yeah. Just, you know, interesting bits and all that.
Were you looking for someone in that tree? I could introduce you.
Strange way to talk about your dead. He looks up at the tree and breathes out. Half the town's up there now, seems like. No right way to talk about it. I don't think I'll be needing any help. He shrugs. Seems you're better off than most around here, then. He turns his attention away, watching the village around him. Okay, so let's just get to the village. Inn, as it were. If I can remember where that is, I don't know if I do. think this might actually be someone's house, but oh well. This is, I think this is like, was a Kickstarter reward, I'm pretty sure. But essentially what the main character is doing here is reading the past lives of the NPCs, and I think if you had like a certain Kickstarter tier, you could write like a backstory or something. Yeah. Okay. But either way, they're not, I don't think they're typically lore relevant, or at least like not super relevant, so. No, can't miss a plant. Just noodling around the map. The background art for these maps really is very, very pretty. I think that's just a farm and not the inn. Let's see. Oh, well. So this is the smithy south. The mill. Okay. So the inn is just over there. You see four people gathered by the door to the inn. Their raised voices and chopping gestures suggest an argument reaching its climax. The first figure raises his hand for calm. His face is partially obscured by a hood, but his height and stature suggest an elf.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we? My treat.
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
I think she's just gonna watch for a moment to say nothing. One of the other men glares at the hooded elf. His eyes are red from drink, but his gaze is focused. You've got a lot of gal mocking us in our own village. We don't take ill treatment from foreigners, especially not Adirans.
Go on. Say it again. I'm itching for an excuse.
Fie, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you cocksfeather!
I'll cut that barrel-licking tongue out of your head.
Oh boy.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say whatever it is you think I said. We've nigh quarrel.
That's where you're wrong.
This is unnecessary. Wouldn't you rather be inside drinking than out here arguing? We don't want your charity either, foreigner. They squint at you through red, bleary eyes. It sounds suspiciously like you're defending him. Oh my god. And like... So the thing is, I don't think you can just like knock people out in this game, unlike Baldur's Gate 3, so I think we're just gonna have to... yeah... Sorry about this one, guys.
Yeah!
As the last of the attackers falls, the elf turns to you, the tension almost gone from his smooth face.
Not quite how I hoped to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that awkward situation.
You mean for slaughtering them? You're welcome.
Well, that is one way of putting it.
He straightens his hood, and you note the remains of fraying embroidery on his gloves. His boots are caked with the dirt of many months' travel, but the leatherwork beneath it is sturdy and fine.
Well, I suppose introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvisor, at your service.
How did you manage to get stuck out here? He laughs uncomfortably. That is something of a long story.
Well, I'm a wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire, and both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I am grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land.
Again, sort of mirroring the merchant's story. Either like a second son or someone that had, means for education but didn't have the opportunity that they wanted, decides to go to the essentially colonial, post-colonial, however you want to put it, land to seek out opportunity, TM.
And how exactly did you come to be here?
I was traveling with a caravan, but we were separated near some ruins.
In Gwithan ruins? Oh, those can be dangerous places during the best of times, which these are not. And half the locals would arrest you for trespassing, and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there?
And again, kind of interesting, similar to Cliche, we get like a hint here that it's like, oh, the locals aren't like all like that, or at least like, and just saying that half the locals would arrest you, that implies that they have like the legal right to do so. I do have to wonder, like in the background lore, if I read like all of the books or whatever, will I find anything about like treaty rights or something like that? Anyway, a Biawak.
And you survived? I've heard such a thing was impossible. But it seems you either have a knack for timing or the favor of the gods.
Just how did you manage to cross those three drunks?
I'm afraid that was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
You did tell that one man to go fuck his sister. Ah, that. He clears his throat and adjusts his sleeves. As I tried to tell them, they misheard me. Happens all too easily after a few pints, and the accent doesn't help. I see. For which I am grateful. Let's discuss something else, shall we? What are you doing in Gilded Vale?
An excellent question. I came looking for fresh air and cheap land. Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expectant wife. But I take it that's a familiar tale.
And you? Like you said, I'm also a settler.
Indeed. In that case, welcome to Gilded Vale, a true refuge from civilization.
You don't exactly look like a settler.
Begging your pardon, but neither do you. Yet, circumstances can find a person in the strangest of places.
I should get going.
As should I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery, and I find it's better to travel in numbers.
So this is our first party member. Lucretia probably needs allies. It's probably a good, and also a wizard is probably a good person to have on your side, given the circumstances of the town. I think also she's morbidly fascinated with whatever the fuck is going on with this guy because he's clearly not telling the truth about some things. So do I. Let's go then.
Excellent. I shall follow you.
All right. Let's actually enter the inn this time. Let's see. So I know the parasitic staff is a really good weapon, summon weapon, but if I remember correctly, his stats are more for like AoE, and like debuffing stuff. I seem to remember. So I remember Choke Fog being like a fun spell to use. So let's go with that. I remember Arcane Veil being quite helpful too. All right.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Hail and well met.
Oh, greetings and welcome to the Black Hound Inn. The innkeeper bows her head curtly. Please sit where you like. Would you like a drink or a room? We have two available at the moment. I'm afraid we can't offer much by the way of a good meal today, she sighs, unless you're fond of cold porridge. I'd like to know more about the Black Hound. Really? Well, let me see. The actual building's been here for years, but the Black Hound's fairly new. We get a lot of new faces in here, too. Fewer than we used to, I'll admit. I used to work the tables, actually, until the old owner up and left. Nobody's sure what happened to him. Even left his poor hound behind. That's a name, see? The Black Hound. It's still sitting upstairs, pining after him. Poor girl. I think you might be able to get that as a pet, actually, come to think of it. Place ended up in my hands somehow. She laughs. My very own inn. A lot of hard work involved, but it's been worth it so far. Could I see what you have for sale? Aeloth opens his mouth, but seems to reconsider. Nothing for me, thanks. Of course, we're running a little short on goods these days, but we ought to have more soon. But I'm mostly here to sell things, so... Can I just... Alright. Let's see if we can find that dog. There's the stairs. Alright, so that one's probably also... Grab a drink, friend. Not much else of worth in this town, says the woman from Thene. Hey, we said we wouldn't mention Thene. Is Thene a reference to something? I don't remember if it's a town in this, fair. Let's see, three mechanics, okay.
Consider it done. There. What did I tell you?
Can I give her... Oh. Where did... What? Oh. I forgot that a stash is a thing. I am just giving her the hat for fun. uh, quest items. Interesting. Anyway. All right. The Deerwood, Part 1, Early Colonial History. No other land has such wild and bloody recent history. From colony to palatinate to free republic, the Deerwood has undergone a trial by fire to emerge as a powerful force of the Eastern Reach. Deerwood's history actually begins in AD 2602 AI. Beater explorers returned from a journey across the ocean with tales of the treasure they'd found. They discovered countless ruins scattered through the forests, as well as plains to the north of the trees that would be perfect for growing vorlass. There was a problem, however. The locals were hostile and there was potential for conflict. The Ferkonig of Adir, Ferkonig of Adir, first king, knew that this was too good of an opportunity to pass up and sent more explorers to scout and map the area. Exploration continued over the next 20 years. Small groups of explorers traveled back and forth between Edir and this new world, with a handful of colonists setting up small camps to establish a base for the explorers to work out of. Conflicts with the locals, who the Adirans learned are called the Glanfathans, were rare, but frequent enough for the Ferkonig to send a small squadron of guards to help protect his citizens. These guards established a central base on a river in the western section of the woods. This settlement would eventually become the city of Deerford, upon which the modern-day village of the same name is presently built. Once that base was established, the first permanent Adiran settlements began north and west of the Vale River. Over the next 3 years, thousands of Adirans made the trek from Adir to this new land. The Glanfathans, who seemed to revere the ruins scattered through the forest, caused a few problems with some of the settlements, especially those founded near the ruins themselves. These were easily taken care of by the colonists with the help of the Imperial Guard. The Adirans, in order to further their foothold in the area, reduced the cost of production, and in an attempt to keep the Glanfathan population under control, started making slaves out of any Glanfathans captured during the uprisings. This resulted in a great increase in tension between the two groups. Wow. So I mean, that last two sentences, what I will say there is it does a great job of kind of proving that everything before that is, either a wild understatement or total bullshit. With the population of the area growing, an official governmental structure was established by the Ferkoning. He appointed several earls to preside over the land and assigned them thanes to help run their territories, and they called the new Grafram the Deerwood. Deerford remains the center for the Imperial Guard, but the settlement in Pearlwood Gulf, near Dunrid, was the true seat of power in the area. Sitting at the edge of the ocean, forest, fertile farmland, and a river that runs from the coast to the White Marsh, settlers flocked to the area, hoping to establish name for themselves. Adir began to spread across the new land. Okay, so I'm also curious about some of the words here, like thane. I think that's an English term, British term, which would kind of make sense if the local Deerwoodians or the natives are kind of Welsh. Anyway, interesting. Oh, doggy. Oh. The hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. It looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. Sorry, girl. Don't think he's coming back. The dog whined softly again, head tilting. Well, you can come with me. Maybe we'll find him on the way. The dog's ears perk up. It trots over to you and barks happily. God. This small dog has a glossy black coat and an affable disposition. She trots along at your heels, gazing up devotedly whenever you come to a stop. Oh, I'm having an emotion. Anyway. The black hound is going to be out for a bit. Okay, right. So we'll go back in and get a room for the night, and then I think end this. Calling it an episode sounds weird and way too formal for what I'm doing here, but end this section here.
Good day, stranger.
All right. All right, sometimes you get fun dream sequences. That's a thing. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken, and find yourself in front of Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like moldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly, her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air, she speaks a word. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with new, queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. So, fun times.